The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast platform, its affiliates, or even the hosts. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and should not be taken as legal, financial, or professional advice. The host and guests are not liable for any errors of omission in the content, nor for any losses, injuries, or damages arising from the use of the information provided. Listeners are encouraged to seek professional advice relevant to their specific circumstances.
Welcome everyone to Spotlight with that B, and this is episode 17. It's episode 17, right? Yes. And this is episode 17. So I have been waiting weeks to be able to finally just gush about this amazing show that I went to. It is the Jagged Edge. I believe it's cutting season. Cutting season. Man, what an amazing time I had. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience. Per usual, I'm going to share with everyone everything that I normally review when I do these events. Parking, how the crowd was, and of course, how much I enjoyed everyone's performance. Now, for those that don't know, this particular tour, when it came to Miami, it was Eric Bellinger was first opening, then Lloyd, and then Jagged Edge. So let's begin. So I was super amped because I had already seen Jagged Edge and I had already seen Lloyd at other events throughout, I'd say the past 5 or 6 years. They were both at CQ events. So I already knew what to expect in regards to were they going to be good performers or good performances. I already knew they were going to be, so I was already amped. I had never seen Eric Bellinger before, so I didn't really know if what I had seen online and what I had heard as far as his music that he has out. I never really knew that this man's voice is so phenomenal that I might even go and say as I think it sounds, if not exactly like the stuff I have heard as far as Apple or, recorded music, but I think he might have sounded better. It was bananas. So let's go through the night. So I had actually taken the day off. I was on a mini vacation. It was the day after Black Friday. So I don't know why I knew parking was going to be an issue, meaning finding parking. I didn't realize that the pricing on the parking, even though I know this because it's a holiday, it's after Thanksgiving, I figured all that would stop on Black Friday. Since it was the Saturday, I figured the parking and the fees would come back down, whatever the regular parking fees are. So at the end of the day, I found parking. This was at the beach. It was at Miami Beach. And for all of you that know me, you know that I'm always saying I do not really go to Miami Beach. You got to be something pretty special for that B to drive all the way to the beach to come check you. And man, I'm glad I did. So, but the parking was for, I believe it was 3 or 4 hours. It was $50 for the meter parking, which is the street parking, which you pay with your app on your phone or whatever. It was a little bit of ways because there was parking closer to the venue, but unfortunately it was something where the majority of it was taken. What I should have done was, even though I do not like to valet, when I had seen the pricing on the valet, it would have been cheaper for me to valet than to actually do the street parking that I did. Either way, I I got there at about, because of the traffic, I did get there about half an hour before the show started. Now, I was trying to rush to make sure that I got there on time because I wanted to make sure I did not miss Eric Bellinger. Um, Now, my curiosity is really because one of the artists um, that Jay Valentine is always talking about and saying he's a good artist and that he knows him and that's his friend, and post, he has a collab with him. He posts different things on his page where he'll use his music, or he'll post clips of shows that he's been on, or things that he's worked on, to promote his friend. And I knew Jay has a good ear. Obviously, he's an amazing artist himself and amazing writer too. But I figured, that was Jay just, bigging up his homie. So I wanted to see, I was curious if he was really as good as his friend is making him up to be. And yeah, he was, but I wanted to make sure I got there on time. So searching for the parking after all the traffic that I had to take to get to the event, I finally find something. It was like maybe a good 10-minute walk from the actual event. There was a good amount of people still out, so it wasn't like I felt unsafe. I did feel safe. There was a lot of people still parking in the area where I parked that I saw walking along with me over to the venue. Um, Now, it was a little cold that night and it did rain, but it rained when I was leaving the event. So I walk over to the event. Um, it was a pretty good crowd. They did have security. I have been to this location before, but years ago. I want to say like more than 20 years ago. And um, you do have to go through some pretty extensive security, considering that it's at, I believe the location was called the Jackie Gleason Theater. And I had been there before. I had a friend years ago again that had her nursing graduation there. And then I also had been to one of the kickboxing fights that I had attended years ago, in my young B life. And I remember that fight was also there. So I had been there before. Now it is definitely renovated. I personally didn't recognize it until I went into when you actually go into the theater. But everything, where they have the concession stands, because they have concession stands, they had a DJ. They had some bars, some places where you could get food to eat. And it was a really nice setup. I took a couple pictures here and there, um, to show everyone what it did look like. But I do know that all that was different. I didn't recognize that. It wasn't until I actually went into the actual theater that I recognized, and I was like, oh, wait, I have been here before. I'm not confused. So now, I don't know if this was what I'm about to mention. I don't know if this was because of the holiday or because this is normally how it is now there. But I wouldn't be surprised because of the way things are in Miami right now. Um, Not a lot of places, which is why I love when places do look out for your pocket. Not a lot of places are really looking out for people's pockets. They're looking out for their own. Um, and I say this because I went and I figured, you know what? Let me have a beer like I normally do. My one beer. My one beer without the tip was $20. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that is ridiculous. Um, but when in Rome, and everybody, this I did notice, everyone at the event, the majority of the people I ran into in the bathroom, in the hallway, when I was sitting down, was drinking excessively. I don't know if they went to drink before the show or if it was during the show or while they were waiting, like myself. But that I did notice. So maybe it was only me that it bothered that I had to pay $20 for a beer. But for those that want to know pricing, again, I don't know if it was because it was the holiday or because that's just the way things are now in Miami. But it was definitely pricey. So the tickets themselves weren't bad, but the concession stand was pricey. And that's that I only got a beer. I could only imagine if I was getting like actual cocktails, or mixed drinks, or even hard liquor, because I know that's more expensive normally. So price wise, the parking was definitely expensive. Also the beer was expensive. Um, I did notice that some people, though, in their purse and stuff, they brought different things. I mean, I normally don't do that. I wasn't there to eat, and I wasn't really there to drink. I was there to enjoy the performances, but I did notice some people that was the case. Now, I had somebody ask me this in a couple of the spotlights that I did, so I think I will continue to mention this. So, as far as the seating, I was pretty close. You could basically say I think what they called it was, I was in the orchestra area, and the seats weren't actual like movie theater seating. It was a foldable chair. So right there, I wore comfortable shoes because I was like, in case I need to stand up on something, to be able to see, um, I need to make sure I wear comfortable shoes. The problem was the foldable chair situation and me standing up on something, they don't mix. So I was like, yeah, well, there goes that. I'm going to have to find a way. My 5'2", which I'm almost 5'3", but still, my 5'2" self is going to have to maneuver myself around so I can get my content. Now, thank God I chose a seat where I wasn't too far from the end. So when I wanted to get up and, use the lavatory, or, if I wanted to buy something else, I wouldn't disrupt or wouldn't be so uncomfortable walking through the entire crowd and whatnot. Um, Unfortunately, now, two of the people that were in front of me, one of them must have been a professional female basketball player, because she was, I don't know, and I looked to see, like, is she wearing flats, or she was very tall. Again, she looked like a professional basketball player. But, I still found my way around stuff, and I was able to get the content that I got for you guys. Um, if it were in a different location, I might have had a problem as far as being able to see. Um, so pricing wasn't bad, but I think maybe next time I'll be more creative when I'm selecting my actual seats. Now, I do know that when I purchased the tickets for this event, um, it might have been when they did the pre-sale, or it might have been it was, or when they announced it. So I was actually in a hurry to get the tickets, um, because I wanted to make sure that I got something close enough. Uh, I could have done floor seats closer to the actual stage, but the same thing that happened to me in these seats is actually what I was worried was going to happen to me if I got them closer. I figured floor seats, you always got the foldable chairs. It's a situation where me being able to actually see the artist at times is difficult because of my height. And I don't really wear heels to any of these events. Um, it's rare if I do. They got to be pretty comfortable heels for me to wear them. Or it's something where I got to know that I will be sitting down for a good period of time. So, on to the performances. Now, I was able to sit near a good crowd where a lot of them were singing along, really enjoying themselves. Um, the first artist to come out was Eric Bellinger. I got a few really good clips with no obstructed view of him just awing us. I hope this is the term, awing us all. Wow, that's a tongue twister. With his vocals. Like I cannot, I have been saying it. I did a quick little smile check on my page alive after the event, talking about how I was just floored with his talent. Now I had seen the Tiny Desk where with Usher, where he Usher had him do the beginning of Superstar, which if you all know, you know that's one of my favorite songs ever. Um, and in the I saw him actually talking about this the other day, Eric Bellinger, where he was talking about the Tiny Desk, and he was saying that he actually messed up in the beginning of Superstar when they're doing the that part. I'm not gonna do it because I do it all the time off key on my page. I'm not gonna do it here. If you want to see it, you got to go to my page. And it's actually one of my favorite parts. So I know I had seen Tiny Desk, but I don't know if I just didn't recognize Eric Bellinger. So I know that that person on Tiny Desk did their part, and then Usher kicks in and does it again. Now, on the interview I saw him doing, he was saying, oh, it's because I messed up. I went in too early in the song. So then Usher actually then did it right after, because that was when that that moment in the song is supposed to happen, when Usher did it, not me. He's like, but it worked out okay or whatever, um so let me just tell you, when I hear, and one of the clips I have is my reaction to, and I'm getting emotional already just talking about it, but um my reaction to when they play Superstar, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh my God. And when he started singing, and when he did that part, it floored me. I was like, oh my God, man. I think that might have been, if not the first song, the second song he did. And I would literally, this look on my face is literally how I was. I think the entire time he was on the stage. As far as performance, he had the entire crowd on lock. Now, initially, when he first comes out, I don't know if maybe a lot of people don't know Eric Bellinger, but I know that there was a good crowd around me, and they were very vocal. They were commenting a lot and singing a lot, but from what I overheard, all of them saying they were really there for Jagged Edge, and some of them for Jagged Edge and Lloyd. I didn't hear anybody really saying that they were there for Eric Bellinger. Let me tell you, after he belted out some of those joints, everybody was like, oh my God, he is like, wow. Like, everybody had the same reaction I did. Man, I would say everybody killed it as far as how phenomenal they were. But I think the person that takes the MVP of the night, it's got to be Eric Bellinger. Kudos to him. What a talent. I am surprised I haven't seen him touring where he's the main event, because my God, his talent he needs to be the headliner. I'm sorry, I'm saying that. Wow. Phenomenal. I loved it. I cannot say enough. Again, RG is going to give you some clips um, of him singing Superstar. Phenomenal. Me freaking out. Oh my God. You're going to get a lot of that. And then also there was another song, which I believe it's called Imagination, which afterwards, I liked the song so much that afterwards I went and searched for it online. It's, I believe I believe that's falsetto. If there was ever falsetto, I believe that's what that is. Oh my God. I am definitely now a fan. 1000%. Not 100, 1000. Um, phenomenal talent. I cannot say it enough. If you get a chance to see Eric Bellinger perform, oh my God, you better take it. You will definitely be thanking me. Um, Amazing. I feel I feel foolish now for not knowing or believing, not knowing before that he was this great, and not believing Jay Valentine. Even though I've heard his vocals, I just didn't realize. Again, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I think he might be way better than what you hear when you hear a recording of him. Um, Kudos to him. I cannot brag about it enough. If you get a chance, once again, to see him live, I highly recommend it. I know that if he comes back to Miami, I'm going to try my best to be there. I can't imagine that that's not going to be a possibility in the near future because, wow. Doo-wop. Shout out to the doo-wop. Doo-wop. We need him doing a doo-wop. Well, hello. Please make that happen. But a doo-wop where he's gonna share the vocals. Let's see what else. So again, we have a few clips. Eric Bellinger singing. Um, I have more, but what I'm going to do is, because it's a lot of content to share on this, on this episode, I will be doing photo dumps on my Instagram page, with a lot of the content that I didn't use and some that I did use. But because I don't want it to go to waste, because the artists, just all of them blew my mind. So I want to be able to share that with everyone. My hopes is that, just like, for example, myself, now I became a fan of Eric Bellinger. Well, then guess what? I hope you all become fans too, because it is definitely deserved. I definitely need more collabs with him and R&B Money. The guys from This Week in R&B, like, can we get something? Cause my goodness, phenomenal. Now, second artist was Lloyd. Again, I had seen Lloyd. I kind of already knew what to expect because I know when I saw Lloyd in CQ Detroit, and I say this a lot, he was phenomenal then. And there, I also had really good seats. I was closer to floor seats because I finagled my way over to the front with all my friends from CQ. I had an amazing time there. Shout out to CQ Detroit. Um, they all made it an even better experience. And I knew he does his dancing, and and he definitely commands the attention of the crowd, just like Eric Bellinger and just like Jagged Edge. Whoever put this lineup together, you did real good. It's definitely a good matchup. So one of the things that I really enjoyed about Lloyd, at this event, was it seemed like he really wanted to, um, not just command the attention of the audience, but he really wanted to be with his supporters. He wanted to be there one-on-one, face-to-face. Now, I did want to mention this. When I initially got there, there was a young lady next to me who had done the meet and greets. And one of the things that she mentioned to me, and this I want other artists that I know and some that I don't know, um, I want y'all to hear this feedback I got from people. And because I think it really does make a difference. And that's why a lot of these artists, where I go to their shows, I feel this is why they have the support that they have from their followers, but because they really they make their supporters feel seen and they feel heard. So at these meet and greets, apparently, because these were the two names that they told me, Eric Bellinger and Lloyd met some people. There was some where they were telling me that they were some of the most gracious, kindest artists that they have met. Some of them were like that. Lloyd had gotten there ahead of time, and he was saying hi to everyone when, and the young lady was like, Eric Bellinger was there too. And she was just like, it's just the way they treated everyone, it stood out. So if you think at times that, and I'm not saying obviously that wasn't the case at this event, but if at times you think that the meet and greet is just something where you should just be very standoffish with the supporter, you're just there to take the picture, have a quick convo, and okay, bye, next or whatever. Nah, word is gonna get around. Because that girl came, sat down next to me, and she was, first of all, she kept on looking at pictures she took. And she was just like floored by how well both artists treated all the people that were there to see them. The ones that were just standing, with their friend and not actually doing the meet and greet, and the ones where they were actually paid people or people that paid to do the meet and greet. And I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. So, and I mean, again, she was gushing so much about her experience at the meet and greet that it makes you want to think, well, you know what, maybe next time I might consider doing a meet and greet, because if it's that good of an experience. At no time did she say she felt awkward, or anybody that was with her or anybody that was around her. And that's the experience you should be having. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Now, it was evident once the next thing I'm going to mention happened. So apparently what Lloyd does is he wants to be within the crowd. So if you're all the way in the back in the nosebleeds, he wants to know that some of the people back there, that they have the opportunity to have him live and direct and in their face. Because what he was doing is to enter the auditorium or the theater, he was going through the back exit where everybody is in the back. I got a little clip for y'all to see where he's actually coming from the back and he's working his way through the crowd, of course, with security. Let's be safe, people. And you could hear everyone just freaking out and everybody just eating it all up. They were like, yes! Now that was on the opposite side of where I was at. So I was like, oh man, I should have picked some other seats. So little did I know that I would have my turn later on. So this is how he entered the building. Causing an entire commotion because he was walking through the crowd, shaking hands with people, stopping, taking pictures with people. Phenomenal. I was like, oh my God, what a way to start the show. So then, of course, he gets on stage looking phenomenal. Everybody looked phenomenal, on point, the way they dressed, their appearance. You could tell they're all working out, in shape. Yes. And for a single lady like myself, I definitely appreciated it. So, his performances. I got to take a clip, or I got a few clips for you. The rest I will post on my page. But, man, I think he might have been better this time than the other time that I saw him. Like, I just love artists who evolve, but evolve in a way where they're just getting better and better and better. And I mean vocally, and as far as their energy with, with the crowd and with their entire performance. I didn't really realize he plays the guitar and whatnot, but he even played the guitar. All his songs were amazing. His dancing was amazing. He even joked around and he showed the clip of, geez, I can't remember the lady's name, and it's actually it's a comedian that I like, Rhonda, I think her name is. I can't remember now, but there was a clip that was going around online, and they showed it um, where that comedian is making fun of or poking fun at him for when he tripped and fell. So the fact that he's poking fun at himself and he's showing that, and let me tell you, his performance, he doesn't miss a step. So clearly that was a fluke accident because his dancing was on point. You'll be able to hear when RG puts the clips of him singing. It's an amazing voice. I like to use the term, he shut it down. Man, did this man shut it down. Eric Bellinger too. All the artists, but wow. I like the visuals that they used. They did have like a big screen TV where they were showing different things for the different artists. But I'm going to be honest, I think for the first time in a really long time, I wasn't even really paying attention to all that because I was just in awe with the performances of the actual artists. The dancing, the singing, the them going back and forth on stage. I do wish Eric Bellinger's performance would have been longer. So I didn't realize that I actually had noticed there was people coming in and out of this door that was near the stage, but closer to where I was sitting. And I paid attention, but I don't know any of those people, so I didn't pay any mind. I thought it was just, people going to their seats. So at one of these moments, and I was able to get a couple pictures, which RG will put it for you. I was able to get a couple pictures, and one of them isn't with him directly in front of me, only because I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be that content creator that goes to the show, has the artist right in front of them, and then I'm holding the camera like this. I don't do that. Um, I'll take content from afar, but unless I'm doing an actual selfie myself, I'm not going to, be in your face with the camera or whatever. And that was not the appropriate time. But I am glad that what he did is he came out the door, came through the crowd, and he came in through the aisle where I was at and the one right in front of me. He was saying hello to everybody. Everybody was losing their minds. There was people running up that were close to the area, running up to him to take pictures. There was men, there was women. Everyone was floored with the fact that he was doing this and fully enjoying it. He was being, there was again security with him. So, but he was being so humble that he was taking pictures with people. Mind you, he's already ended the performance. There's a DJ playing music, and the way he made sure that he took the time and stopped and took pictures with multiple people, that really stood out to me because it's not an artist where he's thinking, well, if I'm not getting paid for that, I'm not going to do it. And I know personally, firsthand, especially with the way that I love all this music and I love the culture, it means a lot to me when artists do that. So to see him being that type of artist, and word around the culture is that he has an amazing personality, and it was evident. And again, he was so kind to everyone. He looks phenomenal. He smells phenomenal. His skin is super soft. I saw him afterwards posting about how there was actual women talking about how phenomenal he smells, how great he looks. He has charisma for days. And that we want to know what type of lotion or moisturizer, sir, you are using, because the skin is not just also soft, but it is glistening. Yes, on all levels. I was like, yes. So again, Lloyd killed it. Eric Bellinger killed it. Lastly, I'm going to mention Jagged Edge. So, for those that know, Jagged Edge is one of my favorite R&B groups. Of course, because two of my favorite producers are um, Brian Michael Cox and Jermaine Dupri. So they have songs like other different artists do as well, but they definitely have certain songs that get me so emotional. I was worried about doing the spotlight because to hold back the emotion that I still feel just thinking of the event and thinking of how the music made me feel as I was hearing it. Again, I had seen them before, but it was right after, I think it was one of the very first CQ events. It was for CQ Orlando. It was one of the very first CQ events, which means it was a good 3-4 years ago. And let me tell you, they do not disappoint. They were phenomenal then, and they were definitely phenomenal now. I'm glad I went to the show. Again, I have a few clips. They did go on a little bit late. It seemed like they were trying to get a lot of, like the stage hands and, everything going on. So they did go on a little bit later. It took them some time to get on the stage. However, they had DJs there that had the entire crowd amped. They were playing all different types of music. Everybody was in the aisles dancing. Like the people that were there, it could have been because the majority of people, again, were highly intoxicated from what I noticed. But they were there wasn't like bad energy anywhere. And that is rare. Because there's always that one person or those people that are there that just aren't really there to have fun. They're there to just cause a disruption. So that was not the case at this event. Wow. I call it the intermission. So there was that small intermission where the DJs were playing the music. They were, getting the crowd involved and, everyone. I don't know if they were playing some type of game or whatnot. But that kept us entertained. I did use the time to use, the lavatory, come back. The lines were long for the lavatory, but they did have quite a few different areas you could go to. And also a lot of people were taking the opportunity to buy, I saw them standing in the line to get more liquor or some beers or something to eat. So I guess in the end of the day, maybe the intermission was deliberate because a lot of people did want to go do all that other stuff. Nothing sucks more than when one of your favorite artists that are there, that you're there to see, are about to go on and now you got to use the bathroom. It happens, especially to me. So the intermission was not a bad idea. Now again, they came on, they started performing per usual. I was ready to see if it was something where maybe I might have a little bit of disappointment because can you be perfect every time I see you perform? Well, apparently you can. Because, man, they definitely rocked this place because every song they performed was amazing. They also did, to honor D'Angelo, they also did a rendition of, I think it's Lady, My Lady. You're my lady, or whatever. So I can't sing, guys. I'm not going to try, but I got a clip. I got a clip of, again, a few of the songs that I personally love. There was even one clip, which I think I did post this on my page, but I will repost it in the photo dump. There was even one where I had to get emotional. because that's how much I love that song. And I had to pause. I literally had to pause and collect myself. The voices for me, for Jagged Edge, and the content and the music, the way it's put together and the lyrics and everything, for me, I don't know what it is about this group that it's, I figured it wouldn't happen at the show, but it did. It got me so in my feelings. And it puts me like in this trance where it's like full on emotion. Um, I had to, for a moment, not get content, put my phone away. Thank God I had some napkins, dry my tears. But I feel that when you go see an artist, if they're definitely that good, they should strike up emotion in you. As somebody that's watching and that's soaking up all the vibes. So job well done. Um, I'm trying not to get emotional now because just thinking about the song, I don't even want to say the name of the song because just thinking about it, it gets me in all my feelings. Um, but again, I got the clips that I got. Let me do it this way. I got the clips that I got. I was not disappointed in any way. It was worth the parking. It was worth the $20 beer. Um, there was a moment where they brought out, which I also got. That's one of the clips that I also got. I mean, they were all over the stage. Let me just say that. And they had dancers. I enjoyed the dancers. But they also, there was a moment where they brought out some couches and they did singing, but sitting on the couches. So then what a lot of people, kind of like a loungy feeling. And if you know me, you know I love me a good lounge. So at that moment, it felt like they had been on forever. Because I do want to say this. There was the intermission. They did take long to get on stage, but the show also ran over. It was longer than I expected or that I think most people expected, which was A-okay with me. So they brought out these couches. Then they, sat down on the couches. A lot of people, then sat down because the majority of the crowd for all the performances were standing up. At least I know I was. So especially for Lloyd and Jagged Edge. Now, in a lot of the content, you're going to be able to hear the crowd around me. There are times where I wanted to do my off-key singing, but I had to tell myself, shut up, Betty, because I wanted to capture the crowd, the emotion, and how everyone, it was like a doo-wop. Everyone was singing along to these songs. Everyone. Men, women, everyone. And in a long time, in the first time in a very long time, everybody that worked at this facility, at this event location, they were all enjoying the show too, singing and dancing in the aisles, all that. When I say they shut it down, man, they sure did. Phenomenal. So I was not disappointed. I really enjoyed it. Again, if they come, any of these artists come individually together with other people, it doesn't matter. If they come to where you are at, or if you can make it to one of their events, I highly recommend it because I left. Again, it ran late. I was supposed to go to the doo-wop, but I had till, I believe, midnight to get to the doo-wop with the tickets that I had gotten, which I was doing the freebie. And at that point, $20 beer, $50 parking. I'm not trying to pay anything extra. And I was so content with the entire show that I was like, well, I already said I was going to go to the doo-wop, so let me do that. I still had to drive from the beach to Wynwood. I ended up getting there too late. I think I got there like around 12:30. And at the door, they let me know, well, you missed the time for the tickets and blah, blah, blah. So now if you want to go in, you would have to, you pretty much have to purchase your entry. And by then it was already sprinkling outside. So I'm standing in the rain pretty much. I'm hungry because I didn't eat at the event place. I wanted to get something to eat. I hadn't had dinner. So I thought to myself, is this something you really need to do? And I was like, I sure don't, because I am so happy. I was on cloud nine with how happy I was with the entire event that I was like, you know what? Nah, Betty, you don't really go get yourself something to eat, which I did. There was a pizza place right across the street. And when I got myself some pizza, I still had to drive all the way home because I was still far from my house. And even while I was having the pizza, I was just thinking about the entire night, and I was just, again, on cloud nine, so happy that I did it. Um, it a lot of people ask me for the holidays since I don't do a lot of things like others. I'm not spending the holidays with family, for example. And after Thanksgiving, a lot of people were like, "Oh, are you in your feelings because you haven't spent, time with family or with anyone really?" And I kept telling them, "No, because I'm doing something so phenomenal a couple days after Thanksgiving that my mind the entire time was focused on that." And to know that I was able to do it, and I was not disappointed at all. I was super impressed, again, with every artist, super impressed with the entire event, that I felt 100% content with how everything ended up. That, let me tell you, I'm thinking every holiday, I'm going to start looking around to see who is coming, because that was one of the best ideas I've had in a really long time. I'm so glad I did it. Um, Again, if they come to your city, definitely go see all these artists. I don't think I go see whack artists. I don't think it's something where I have been somewhere to see an artist where they have disappointed me. But I would definitely say this event, like the Keith Sweat event, which was like all legendary acts. I know Lloyd and Eric Bellinger are newer acts, and I guess in a way so is Jagged Edge in comparison to like Keith Sweat, for example, and SWV from the other event. Um, I know they're newer acts, but man, they do not fall behind. I would say this again was one of the memorable events that I have done in 2025, and I'm so glad I did it. So I wanted to make sure that I did my spotlight, big up, or big, is that the way you say it? Bigged up all the acts. Again, for me, since I wasn't expecting it, the person that impressed me the most was Eric Bellinger. Man, sir, we need you on a tour where you're headlining. That's what I got to say about that. Jesus, my goodness. Just going over the content today to send to RG, I got emotional listening to a lot of the stuff. Um, Now that's rare. That only happens to me with like R&B money stuff. So uh, that is the end of my spotlight. I usually talk about new music, but my mind right now is stuck on one song because of something that occurred today, and that's that. And the song is Control, and it's by Tank. I believe I talked about it in my last episode. Um, he dropped a video today. Phenomenal video, Tank. Phenomenal. I loved the whole look. I love how it's different than other things you've done. I love the song. Again, I'm not so big on the man wanting control or having control, but I believe I mentioned this before too. I believe as long as you're really into that guy, if he's that guy, if he's your future babito, if he's your dude, you will be more than happy to relinquish any type of control. Yes, baby, tell me what to do. So right now, the new music I'm going to recommend is Tank's Control one more time. But today, what you could do is watch the video because the video got released today. It's on YouTube. I'm sure it's on other platforms. I know you will enjoy it. It is getting a lot of positive feedback, which is well deserved. Tank, again, like these other artists, is a phenomenal talent. Um, Not just because he's one of my favorites, but yeah, because he's one of my favorites. With that, I leave you all. I don't know why I'm all congested now. Maybe because I got emotional and I was holding back the tears. I didn't want to bust out crying here. Um, Everyone, be kind to others, spread love, support what and who you love. With that, I leave you all to the next episode. I will keep you all posted on my social media platforms. I am, to just remind everyone, I am on YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel where you are watching this. Also, I'm on IG and I'm also on TikTok and Fanbase. All of them, I believe, are my handle, that B74, whether it's that underscore B74 or no underscore. Please watch all my episodes, all the content I'm posting. Rest well if you are about to go to bed, and stay safe no matter what time of day it is where you are at. The world is crazy right now. So let's all have a little bit of integrity in everything that we do. And again, be kind to others and spread love. Peace.